amazing. Oh my gosh. Hey adventurers, it's Milo, and I am beyond thrilled to finally say that I am here with Lance at Giraffe Manor just outside of Nairobi, Kenya. It is mid-morning right now. The ibis are calling behind me in the forest, and we are in such a surreal place. In fact, here, let me go ahead before I talk too much. I want to go ahead and turn this around so you can see where I'm sitting right now. I'm on their back patio, but this is where breakfast was had. Lance and I were at a table just right here. You can see the balcony where some people are staying the evening. It is a beautiful place. It really is. In fact, we had dinner out here in the courtyard. We're actually staying here in the garden manor. It is such a wild, uncomparable place to anywhere else in the world. And it's so wild to, after so many years researching, watching videos, and trying to figure out what is this place all about, to finally be here and to really see it in action it's given me goosebumps the whole way through since we arrived. But most importantly, I want to share with you my opinions of Giraffe Manor and kind of what my take is on this whole wild experience, because like I said, it is unlike any other. It really is unique in so many different ways. And obviously my passion is ethical wildlife tourism and making an impact for wildlife no matter where you go, whether it's in your backyard or halfway across the globe like we are right now here in Kenya. And I will say that making the effort in every single action we make and making everything a journey for wildlife. It's not just to go see wildlife, it's not just to take pictures of wildlife or discover them or make connections with them. It's a journey for wildlife to make an impact, a lasting impact. And staying at Giraffe Manor has been so fascinating to really see that all come full circle. Because from a quick Google search, Giraffe Manor kind of just seems like a really fancy place to stay that you can get a lot of really amazing Instagram photos. You can look like you're on the cover of Vogue, because when you're standing next to a giraffe or feeding the world's tallest land animal, it is a beautiful, picturesque scene. The manor itself is gorgeous. It's a historical structure. I mean, you really can't ask for a more photo-worthy setting. But it does go a little further than that. It is more than just a photo op. It has been interesting to see. Obviously, photos are a huge part of what they do, and it's been interesting to see kind of that intersection of, are these ethical wildlife selfies? Are they unethical? Are they photo props? Are they making an impact? And I think the biggest thing to remember is all animal interactions are on a scale of positive impact or negative impact. And as far as where Giraffe Manor sits on that scale, it's far more positive than it is negative. Because if you look behind me, it might be hard to see right now, but this forest that I'm sitting in front of is about 150 acres for their entire herd of Rothschild giraffe. 150 acres is just devoted to the giraffe. They can come and go as they please. They do not need to be up here next to the manor. Clearly you can see that it's full of trees. There's plenty for them to eat. And they don't just eat the food that we as guests or residents or visitors are hand feeding them. So when you're looking for an ethical wildlife experience, look to make sure it's in a natural setting. Can't get much more natural than this. But also look to make sure that those animals have a choice. Can they leave? Are they forced? Are they confined to a certain area? And here, even just right over my shoulder, right in this area here is where a lot of the feeding happens, but they truly just open these little tiny gates and the giraffe have access or can leave. And truly throughout the morning, they did just that. So as far as choice, the giraffe have obviously all the choice in the world to do as they please. As far as safety is another huge thing. Obviously, giraffe are big, huge, potentially very dangerous wild animals. And that was one of the first things we were told right during our introduction, right during our kind of orientation welcome from the manager of Giraffe Manor, was giraffe are dangerous. Here's your waiver. Here's all the do's and don'ts. This is where you can stand, can't stand, and how to be vigilant. And they've been very candid of giraffe have big heads and they have powerful necks, and unfortunately accidents have occurred from errors of guests standing in the wrong place or being too close to the wrong giraffe. And it has been so neat to see all of the staff interacting with the guests and the giraffe in such a positive way, really curating these interactions. Another thing that I've noticed is from seeing all these different wildlife encounters all around the world, I always am so in tune to what are the staff doing, what are they paying attention to, and it has been so humbling to see this big group of giraffe, lots of giraffe here at the manor, and how personalized everything is. They all have names. Obviously, all the staff know how to tell them all apart, and there's do's and don'ts with every individual. Just like with people, animals have individual personalities, and so do those giraffe. And whether it's Betty or Daisy or Kelly or Ed the giraffe, the staff know exactly what can and cannot happen around those animals, and that is so unusual. You don't typically go to encounters like that where the staff have such an intimate understanding of what the animals are and are not capable of doing, and that to me pushes Giraffe Manors so far out of the realm of unethical. I mean, they are doing it the right way, the responsible way, the safe way. But then on top of all of that, how are they impacting wildlife? Well, obviously at the end of the day, these are managed giraffe. They're not wild giraffe. This is obviously a set area, 150 acres, where they are highly cared for, these Rothschild giraffe. But what's very interesting is their breeding herd. They actually have about 5 little babies that are just a few months old that we've been watching. They're actually part of a robust reintroduction program here in Kenya, and the offspring born here on site then are members that join other populations out in the wild to help bolster those Rothschild giraffe numbers here in the region. So it's really interesting to see kind of that full circle effect. But not only are actual giraffe leaving the property and repopulating wild areas, but also the parent company of Giraffe Manor, the Safari Collection, who owns 4 different properties throughout Kenya, they actually on a yearly basis donate and support wildlife conservation. In fact, back in, I think it was 2019, it was over $1 million just went to wildlife conservation. But what really struck me was last year, this is 2021 now, but last year during the global pandemic in 2020, they donated over $40,000 just to the Giraffe Conservation Foundation, which is really admirable in my opinion. 2020, the world shut down. Everyone was so concerned for surviving, buckling down, tightening up their budgets, but the Safari Collection still prioritized supporting those conservation initiatives that needed it the most. And you can't beat the impact that Giraffe Conservation Foundation is making for the silent extinction of giraffe. So they really are walking the walk. They're talking it and actually doing it, and taking along the guests along the way. So as far as staying at Giraffe Manor and making it a journey for wildlife, it really is the best of all experiences. It's an amazing experience as a visitor here at the manor, but then to also obviously make an impact too for giraffe here and giraffe around Kenya, but then also to have some amazing connections. This is an unforgettable honeymoon for Lance and I. The moments that we've had with this herd of giraffe or the staff and all those different interactions, and really seeing those connections that people can make in very impactful and, most importantly, ethical wildlife encounters. So without a shadow of a doubt, I would recommend visiting Giraffe Manor here outside of Nairobi, Kenya, for many, many, many different reasons. But I do encourage you all, as always, to do all your research, of course. Find out all those details about all those different places, whether it's in your backyard or halfway across the world like we are here in Giraffe Manor. But once again, I cannot recommend it enough. But let's go ahead and check out more of what Lance and I have been able to discover right here at Giraffe Manor. All right, adventurers, so we went over all the ins and outs of meeting the giraffe here at Giraffe Manor, but I want to give you some more peeks of the property, of what it really truly looks like from a visitor's perspective. So right now we're in the courtyard between the main manor house and the garden manor house over my shoulder. But let me go ahead and turn around this camera because we're gonna head through the breakfast area, the famous room filled with windows that of course the giraffe stick their heads through for their breakfast snacks. We'll sneak through kind of a lounge area too and give you a quick view from the front of the manor as well. Because of course, what a famous iconic view, the double stairs heading down. But this is my favorite view. Straight on out to the giraffe forest. I mean, my gosh, they even have custom made fire pit rings with engraved giraffe and warthogs. But this is the view that everyone is so familiar with. The windows above, the giraffe can stick their heads in the morning for folks to feed them a quick breakfast snack. And then this, behind the gate, is where all of the giraffe are resting with the ibis, the noisy ibis, as they chew their cud from breakfast. So you really can't ask for a more unique place to stay, discover. It really is a magical place, and Lance and I are so lucky to be here, and it is going to be an unforgettable honeymoon, one that we will truly never forget for so many different reasons.